Hello and welcome to this video rules of Welcome, a roll and write game without dice. For 1 to 100 players from 10 and up and a duration of about 25 minutes. A game by Benoit Turpin with splendid graphics by Heidsieck and published by Blue Cocker Games. In Welcome you are architects who must build the best housing estates with parks and swimming pools in the streets you have in charge. It is a game where everybody plays at the same time with the same card draw. Player will have to cleverly combine the house numbers on the cards with the actions linked to them, in order to become the greatest architect of tomorrow, that is, the player with the most points at the end of the game. Game turn. At the beginning of each round, the top card of each stack is flipped and placed next to it, action side up. Then everyone at the same time, you will pick one of the 3 available combinations and apply the effect on your score sheet. That is, you must write the house number of your combination in one of your streets. But beware, the number must always be written in an empty house and must be written in ascending order from left to right. For example, you can leave as many empty houses as you wish between 2 built houses and fill those later, while still respecting the ascending order. In the same way, you can skip numbers, for example, putting a 10 just after a 7. But be careful, if you cannot write down a number, you must check a refusal box, starting with the top one. These are negative points at the end of the game. But if you did not get a permit refusal, you can also play the action of the combination you choose. Small details: the choice of your combination is done at the same time for all players, so multiple players can very well pick the same combination. And using the action is never compulsory. The round ends once all players have built the house and potentially used the action. Actions. The surveyor allows the player to create a fence between 2 houses in the same street. This fences delimit housing estates. Once completed, a housing estate will score points at the end. The beginning and the end of the streets already have a fence, and it is possible to split a housing estate by adding a fence inside it. However, if this estate has already been used for a city plan, then it is not possible to split it again. City plans are objectives for players to complete. For example, building an estate of 4 houses and 3 estates of 1 house. Housing estates can be in any streets. There are no constraints with the location of estates of a city plan. The first player to complete this objective writes in the box the highest score indicated on the project side. Then he flips the card on the approved side. He will no longer be able to score with the city plan. However, all the other players who will later complete this objective can score the points indicated on the approved side. Please note that housing estates used in a city plan can no longer be split with a surveyor fence. To make sure of it, the player draws a line above the houses. A housing estate used for a city plan cannot be used for another plan. One more thing, when a player completes the first objective, he has the choice to shuffle all the construction cards and create 3 new stacks for the remainder of the game. Next action, the real estate agent. He increases the value of completed housing estates. To increase the value of size 3 housing estate, you check the next box, starting with the highest in the column. At the end, these will be points using the lowest value still visible. Here, 4 victory points for any completed size 3 housing estate. With the landscaper, the player can create a park. To do so, you check one of the 3 at the end of the street where you just built the house tied to this action. Parks are checked in ascending order. With the pool manufacturer, if you built your house in an empty slot with a swimming pool, then you can build the pool. You check the first available box in the pool column, always in ascending order. Please note that with this action, it is okay to build a house in a slot with no pool, and also to build a house in a slot with a pool without using the pool manufacturer action. In both instances, there is simply no pool built. With the temp agency, you can add or subtract 1 or 2 to the house number you're building. That's how you build houses numbered 0 to 17. For each temp worker hired, you check a box in the temp agency section. These are also points at the end of the game. Last action, the bis number. This action allows you to write in any street a number identical to an already present number, as long as the houses are adjacent and are part of the same housing lot. For example, you write the number of your combination in an empty house, number 5. Then you use your bis action on a house already built in another street next to the number 3, which gives a number 3 bis. Let's imagine that the 3 bis already exist, then you can very well write a 3 ter, and so on. But be aware that when you use the bis action, you must check a box in your bis column, in ascending order, and those are negative points at the end of the game. Endgame. The game ends if a player gets a 3rd permit refusal, or if a player completes all 3 city plans, or as soon as a player has built all the houses in all the streets. Then each player adds his points. First the plant, then the parks, then the pools. For the temp workers, it's the player with the most checked boxes who scores 7 points, then 4 points, then only 1 point. In case of a tie, players score the same amount of points. Then the completed housing estate. How many 1 house estate? How many 2 house estate? Then 3, etc. Then you subtract the bis points and the permit refusals. The player with the most points wins. In case of a tie, the player with the most completed housing estates is the winner. In case of a new tie, it's the player with the most 1 house estate, then 2 house estates, etc. If there is still tie, play again. This was the video rules of the game Welcome. Thank you and play well.